This is my first attempt at the Toolbox talk, so I'm going to start and give this a crack. Again, if you feel that it would be of any use to any ex-colleagues, anybody that you know in the industry, then please just share this. So a wee bit on who am I? Craig Payton, Director of Payton Safety and Wellbeing. I'm a health and safety professional, graduate member of IOSH, and also have my diploma in health and safety. What I would say is I did suffer from addiction in the past, and what I'm trying to do just now is just speak to people and see if we can remove this stigma that surrounds addiction and suicide in the industry. So just things that I want you to think about. Just think about how easy it could be over the Christmas period just for your teams to receive that one piece of information that would just change their lives. For me, it was the death of a friend, but for you, it could be being in the bad books over Christmas. It may be not getting the things that you wanted at Christmas, or maybe you're having that bit in your head where you wish that you could give it to somebody else and make their lives a wee bit better. Just have a think about how comfortable you would be if you did have problems, that you would be able to discuss these personal issues with your HR team or your mental health first aiders. Just have a wee think, and if you would be comfortable, then great. If not, by all means give me a chat and we can try and get to grips with it. Just a wee mention, some of this content does involve mental health, addiction, suicide. I do talk about it quite often. If you do feel yourself disturbed in any way during this Toolbox talk, then just seek somebody out that you trust as soon as possible. I also want to speak to somebody connected with your workplace, whether that's your employee assistance programme, your mental health first aiders, or your line manager. And I'll also say about a few other external groups that will be able to help you at the end of this Toolbox talk. Just some key facts for the UK. So we do have over 30% of the UK people in general suffer from poor mental health. With it being the construction industry, it could be half of the people that are suffering from poor mental health. We also have 1 in 5 people contemplate suicide at any given time. The reason I say this is just be kind. You do not know what somebody's going through. It costs nothing to be kind to people at this time of year and all year, to be honest. You don't know what somebody else is thinking. We've got 1 in 4 people actually seek help for addiction. So what that means is the other 3 out of the 4 are still employed and they're still going about their business. They're afraid to talk to people. They're maybe hiding their addiction. I had this conversation with people over the last few weeks, and they felt that it had changed in the UK. However, I did mention that the minute it went, that it was taboo, and people were going to be disciplined because of alcoholism or drug abuse. Then it seemed to go underground. So I'd consider that. And 507, we all know the 507 figure. It could be 10 times bigger, it could be 20 times bigger. It's very hard to put that 507 suicides in the industry onto actual cases. It's hard to put it. There's a lot of people I speak to on LinkedIn that are trying to get that changed, and I'm sure you'll see a bit of traction in the coming weeks. What I would say is, from me, part of the reason that I do what I do is just trying to make a different approach when it comes to alcohol and addiction. When I went to my GP and I said to him that I had problems, the first thing that they offered me was antidepressants and a recycled pamphlet for the Alcoholics Anonymous. With that, I decided that I was really going to have to do it myself because I wasn't comfortable sitting going through that in front of strangers. It took all of my pride to admit that I had a problem, and I felt that my pride would have been dented even further if I was going to have to speak in front of strangers. So just some stats from Alcohol Change UK. They say that 40% of employers mention alcohol is the cause of low productivity. Between 3 and 5% of work absence is caused by alcohol consumption. 35% of people say they've noticed colleagues under the influence of drugs or alcohol at work, which is staggering. 27% of people state that workplace stress makes them drink more. In many workplaces, especially at this time of year, they encourage drinking, whether through socialising or workplace events where drinking is considered the norm and alcohol is available for free. What I would say is maybe try and challenge that. Maybe have a look at speak with your mental health first aiders and see if there is something that you could do instead. Just trying to ensure that social events aren't entirely geared around alcohol, and try and give people a decent standard of alcohol-free drinks on offer. What we do need to have a look at as well is how easy it is for people to go into the workplace when it's a Christmas night out. The work facilitates this, and then if somebody makes a mistake at the Christmas night out, they're brought into the work on a Monday morning and they're basically hauled over the coals for something that they did. For me, the way I look at it is that the company enabled that 100%. Try and have a think about other things that we do. Everything doesn't need to revolve around alcohol. So with us, I'm calling on everybody, every person. Do you know, we need to start talking. We need to start putting an arm around one another. Have a think about what banter is, especially when you're on a construction site. Do you know, where is that line? When does it become bullying? Listen, I'm as guilty as anybody else of trying to push people's buttons and having a laugh, but we just don't know what other people are going through. In the UK, we've got 1.8 million people suffering from work-related ill health. These are stats that were taken from the HSE last week. We've also got 875,000 cases due to stress, depression or anxiety. Suicide, as I mentioned, we've got just under 2 people per day dying by suicide on the building sites. I always speak about falling from height being the biggest killer, but 10 times that amount losing a life to suicide. We really need to start normalising this conversation. I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but 75% of all suicides in the UK are male. It doesn't matter if you're from Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland, or even the Republic of Ireland. It's 3 and 4 are male. We need to start getting people to talk. Our industry is made of more than 50% of self-employed, agency staff, 0-hour contract workers. We don't know what these guys are going through. They are coming onto sites, it's maybe 2 men in a van, maybe getting home for a few hours, getting a few hours sleep and then back out. Workers also spend long periods away from their home, their friends and their family, and as we all know, it can be a very unforgiving culture working on the building sites. And we're subjected to rain, wind, snow, all the weathers, often for a minimum wage, So ill health, the average cost of an ill health case stands at nearly £20,000. Also rises to nearly £40,000 for absences over 7 or more days. Estimated 35.2 million working days were lost last year due to self-reported work-related ill health or injury. And the current rate of self-reported work-related stress, depression, anxiety is higher than pre-pandemic levels. Impacts on mental health and addiction on businesses. We've got an impact in performance, we've got high staff turnover. This leads to untrustworthy staff, maybe people sneaking in things that they shouldn't be doing. This increases team tensions. Can also have an impact on your finances and efficiencies, and a negative view on overall company presentation. This also has an impact on absenteeism and presenteeism. I always say presenteeism because people are turning up in their droves every Monday morning and they're feeling a wee bit worse for wear. This is illegal when people are driving to work and they're still under the influence. But again, they can't afford to take that time off, especially with it being this time of the year. Impacts on individuals. We've got a lack of sleep, poor mental health, low or high moods, anxiety, depression and physical health risks that come alongside mental health and addiction. Signs and symptoms, which is something that I want to discuss with you in this toolbox talk. Psychological symptoms of addictions include mood swings, paranoia, tiredness, defensiveness. These are the things that I would like you to look out for in your co-workers. Poor judgment, memory problems, agitation. Maybe somebody's a wee bit like myself, they're a wee bit jovial, yet after Christmas they've maybe became a wee bit of a recluse. Feelings of hopelessness as well. And what I do say to everybody is if you're feeling in a great mood and you go for a drink or you take drugs, that'll put you in a greater mood. Whereas if you're feeling really low, and you take drinking drugs, then it's going to put you in an even lower place. And then comes the melancholy. Behavioural and social signs, so look out for secretive or dishonest behaviour, poor performance or attendance at work, withdrawn from your responsibilities and socialising. I know anybody that knows me knows I'm a big football fan. I maybe didn't go to the football for a year. I withdrew and came into myself. Excuse me. Physical signs of addiction include lack of concern over your appearance or your personal hygiene, disrupted sleeping patterns, which include insomnia. What I do want to speak to you about is how to speak to somebody if you think that they've got a problem. Just find that quiet place where you can sit and speak. Just be level-headed and calm. Just show that you care. Speak with kindness and understanding. Express your concerns honestly and avoid criticising somebody's character. It's not what somebody that's an addict wants to hear, that they don't want to be criticised. What I do say, try and educate yourself on addiction and mental health and listen more than you talk. What I mean by that is, generally, if I was looking at the stigma that surrounds mental health, and even from myself with Alcoholics Anonymous, I didn't want to go there. I had to educate myself. I had to go onto site and speak to people and see what it actually was, rather than having a thought in my head that said these places won't help you. Offer your support and your help without being judgmental or telling anybody what you want them to do. It's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's their decision. They're the ones that's got to speak up about it. Key fact, on average for every £1 spent in supporting employees' mental health, employers get £5 back on their investment. That's in reduced absenteeism, staff turnover. Reasons that men can't talk. I've noted these down. We've got construction, we've got football, the stigma that surrounds it, working class, Glasgow pub cultures. With men, we're meant to be the strong ones. We're meant to be the ones that don't talk. I would encourage your site teams to have a chat. An interesting statistic that I read the other day from the British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy, 2022, said in the last 12 years, 50% higher rate attendance of men attending talking therapy. Whether this is Andy Mann's club, Men Matter Scotland, whether it's any of these clubs, they're great. I've said to a few people the last few weeks to make their way to an Andy Mann's club. I've tried to facilitate that and trying to get people out there and just getting them talking. What we found is from suicides, women were found to benefit from the psychoeducational approaches and group settings with other women, whereas guys found the benefit more from approaches that help them focus on making changes in their lives towards becoming their best ideal selves. So these are things that I'm starting to look at and spend a bit more time with people and see if there's ways that we can make their lives a wee bit better and getting them that focus that they can look on something in a few years' time and say, look what I've done. Just because help's available, don't assume that everybody's going to ask. We shouldn't assume that people are going to reach out for help. Just start the conversation. Have a chat with people. If you're a company and you're struggling and you need somebody to come in to break the ice, by all means give me a call. That's exactly what I'm trying to do just now, is just trying to get these conversations started, get the ball rolling and get people opening up a wee bit. As Desmond Tutu says, we need to start going upstream. We need to go upstream and find out why people are falling in the water rather than keep pulling them out of the water every time. We need to open up and start speaking. I want people to use my years of experience just to inspire one another and make positive changes in their lives. The way I look at it, are we just going to keep letting people go, or are we going to start supporting them, giving them the help that they really need? I want people to increase their awareness, and it won't just help your employees or your colleagues, it'll also help your family in difficult situations. I want to work in partnership with companies to create that culture of trust, a bit of respect and a bit of success, and address the person rather than the problem. It's not going to be something like, oh, there's Mark, Mark's got a drug habit. It's going to be, there's Mark and he's going through a hard time and he's using drugs and alcohol to try and combat what he's feeling. As I've said a million times, I'm not here to take over HR and health and safety teams. I'm here to help people. That's what I'm here to do, is just try and make that bit of a change. keep saying to my clients, what about introducing coping techniques, just doing things that make you feel good, whether it's yoga, meditation, walking the dog, ice baths. I've never been in an ice bath in my life, and I don't think I will, but just get outside, get some vitamin D in you. Do you know, just be grateful for things that you've got in life rather than things that you wish you had. Just try being happy. Do you know, that's ultimately it. That's the end goal, is just to try and be as happy as you can. We do have support in the industry. We've got the Lighthouse Charity Foundation, as I mentioned earlier. We've got the Handyman's Clubs. What I will do with this video is I'll put it on the bottom, and I'll also share these numbers just in case you're seeing out the toolbox talk and you want some help. I've also got my podcast, which is Football and the Blues. It's a support website, podcast just for LinkedIn and Instagram, and just for people to come on and have a chat about things that you know, it's the things that are really hard in society just now. But my thoughts with that is, if somebody watches that, maybe watch it on a Sunday and they're doing the same things that I was doing, maybe just change their mindset and get them thinking a wee bit. So that's the end of the toolbox talk. As I said, what I'm going to be doing is a follow-up in January. I wish everybody a safe and happy Christmas. I want everybody to come back and just focus. Do you know, what I would say is have a think about your teams coming back in January. A lot of people's heads won't be there. A lot of people have maybe overdid it at Christmas, maybe feeling a bit down, maybe split up with their partners. Who knows? We need to try and encourage this culture of trust where people can feel free to start opening up and talking. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm recovering as loud as I can so that others don't die silently. And that's what this is all about. So please get talking. And if you do need me, by all means, contact me. Thanks. Have a good Christmas and a cracking New Year. Take care. Bye-bye.